Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my most romantic fountain pens with you for Valentine's Day. So as you can see, I'm a lover of all things pink and whimsical and girly, but they're not all pink. We also have some Italian pens. We also have some sparkly pens. So I will give a little background about the pen, its name, how much it cost, where I got it from, why I bought it, kind of what appealed to me, and then I'll do a little writing sample. I'm going to be using this paper today. This is by Life. This is the B5 section pad, and I love it because it has this beautiful lighter colored paper. Usually Life does cream colored paper, but this is nice and bright, and I love that it has this sort of vintage feeling here with the grid and the pink line. It kind of reminds me of a composition notebook. And the paper is just really smooth and doesn't bleed or feather, and it handles fountain pens perfectly. And I love that you can just tear off a sheet. So let's get into it. I will start at the top with some of my more affordable pens, and then we will travel to Japan, and then we will end up in Italy. So the first pens I have are, of course, my tried and true TWSBI Ecos. You cannot go wrong with a TWSBI Eco. And look at these. They're so gorgeous. These are two TWSBI Ecos that I believe came out in around 2018. I got them off of eBay from a Japanese seller. I think they were around $80 each, and I just checked, and there are still plenty available for around 73-ish. So anyway, TWSBI comes out with limited edition colors on a pretty regular basis, and recently they've been coming out with a lot of green and blues. They just released one yesterday or the day before that is kind of a dark coffee color. It's called Espresso Bronze. But yes, I could not pass up these beautiful pink TWSBI Ecos. They're both in a fine nib, and if you know anything about TWSBI, which I'm sure you do, they write perfectly every time. You can use them for shimmer inks. You can see I've got a very, very high shimmer ink in here, and the nib is just exquisite. So let's start off with our writing samples. I'll try to bring us in here a little bit. So first up, actually, let me title this page first. This will be a special mention. This is my Magna Carta Mag 600. I got this from the Atlas Experienced Pen Sale for maybe around $150-ish. I think usually it runs around $350 or $4. And I made a little concoction in here of Birmingham Pen Company sterling silver with Waringle glitter potion heart. One thing is that the nib can be a little bit temperamental. There we go. Magna Carta is supposed to be sending me a new nib, but it's taking forever. I had to actually contact Atlas to get a response from Magna Carta, which is really unfortunate. I think it's some type of an issue where it will write when there's ink on the page, but without ink on the page, it just won't write at all. All right, so we have our title. Let's go in with our first pen. This is the dark pink TWSBI. Let's do one. TWSBI Eco. Dark pink. Fine nib. And as I mentioned, this was purchased on eBay. So there's our first one. Next up, we have the light pink TWSBI Eco with the fine nib. I love that they give you silicone grease and the wrench and everything you need to potentially clean these out so that you can confidently use shimmer in your pens. And I love that they're demonstrators because it's just so much fun. I actually have never used the silicone grease on my TWSBIs, but I did use it on my Magna Carta when I tried to eyedropper fill this. Somebody actually said that that might help it perform a little bit better. All right, next up we have a couple of flex pens. So here is my Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya V2. This was the first Fountain Pen Revolution pen that I purchased. It's a cartridge converter. I actually have it inked up with Ferris Wheel Press Poison Envy, which I feel like could be appropriate given the theme of Valentine's Day. It looks like we're getting a little low though, so I'm going to refill this. Hold on. All right, so we've got our Poison Envy here. Give it a little shake. Get into this pen really quickly. We'll just do a dirty fill. I hope that there's the shimmer right there. I don't know if I can get into this bottle. Ferris Wheel Press is known for having very small openings. Am I going to be able to? Oh, we're in. Okay. Getting all messy here on video. All right, just do a really quick clean. So this posts, and like I mentioned, this is from Fountain Pen Revolution, Himalaya V2. I also have their other, this is kind of like their standard model. I also have their other standard model, but in the piston version, and this is the Jaipur with the ink window, which is nice. These run around $48. You can always find really good sales on Fountain Pen Revolution's website. So let's try this flex. So satisfying. There we go. Poison Envy is a beautiful purple ink with some kind of green sheen and shimmer. You can see it more when it dries. It is so pretty. And as you can see, that's a really nice wet nib. It has a really nice flex to it. I probably didn't do it justice because I just dirty filled it, but you can get a very fine line and then a very thick line. I think it was just a little bit wet there. Next up, we have another Fountain Pen Revolution nib, but this is in an independent pen maker's pen. This is a modified alpha from Myers Pen Company, and it has a Fountain Pen Revolution nib, and I have this inked up with Colorverse Las Vegas. And this is a new company to me. They are a family-run company. They're so nice and kind. I had a little issue when I first got the pen, and they were so quick to make it right. I think it might have been a nib issue. So this is the modified alpha. They also make their own blanks, and their blanks are gorgeous. This is a blank that they made. This is a limited edition XZ pink blank. So I just love those colors. with the pink, and it has shimmer running throughout. Gorgeous. So let's test out this nib for Myers Pen Co. Modified Alpha. And I do enjoy supporting independent pen makers. I think that there are so many cool pen makers out there doing really, really fun things. This pen was $160, and they're based in New York. They have Facebook Lives all the time with giveaways and things like that, so I highly recommend that you check them out. So there you go, and check out that ink, that Colorverse Las Vegas ink. It's so Las Vegas. I know it doesn't match the pen perfectly, but I thought kind of this area was similar. Okay, then moving on to my two BENUs. The first up is my True Unicorn Talisman. This is a Gourmet Pens exclusive collab. I have this in a fine. It kind of will post, but not super securely. But yeah, it's a much smaller model than the Euphoria, which we will see next and we can compare. So here is number 5, BENU Talisman True Unicorn Gourmet Pens. Fine. I really prefer broader nibs on my BENUs, but the good news is that you can switch them in and out interchangeably, and they also take a TWSBI VAC 700R nib. This is inked with Diamine, Lullaby from the 2024 ink vent. I feel like that's a perfect match. This pen was kind of more expensive. I got it from the Gourmet Pens website, and it was around $250 or so. So she's based in Canada. So yeah, that is pricey, but I wanted to have it when I saw it in Ginger Peachy Pens videos, and I got it. The next BENU I paid much less for, and it's the Bubblegum Rizz collab. This was a Jane Euphoria and Hatch Endless Pens collection collab, and I know that it sold out very quickly and not a lot of people were able to grab it or even knew about it. So I almost hate to show it because I know when I don't get something, for example, the newest Platinum Hachimonjiya collab that came out, I missed it by a very short window, and every time I see somebody talking about it, I switch the video because I get so annoyed. Anyway, I hope that they come out with this again. This is 55 out of 100, so they only made 100. I did notice that the new small BENUs that are launching in the beginning of March have a resin that looks like this. I think it does have some purple though, and obviously it's much smaller. The funny thing is that the Bubblegum Rizz, I mean, this looks like bubblegum. It's really hard to tell from the photos, the promo photos on the website. Anyway, I have this in a medium because I have a number of other BENUs, but as you can see, it's much larger than the Talisman. All right, so I said I have a medium on here, and let's take a look at this. I usually have this inked up with a hot pink sparkling BENU Euphoria Bubblegum Rizz. I don't know how they do this with the BENUs, but I've never gotten a BENU that was a bad writer. Their nibs are absolutely beautiful, so wet. And this is inked with octopus fluids. I've been so into them lately. It's actually water, like archival, pink owl. And not to rub salt in the wound, but I want to say that this was, I got this for less than you can even buy a used BENU for. It was like $100 or less because they were having some type of promotion, and then I also got a free gift. So thank you, Endless Pens. They're awesome. I see people complaining about them sometimes because they don't understand the concept of a pre-order, but I love Endless Pens, and I've gotten several of my sailors from Endless, and they have the best prices around. So you just have to see if it's in stock or not. Okay, so let's move on to my Japanese pens, which are some of my favorite. The Japanese and the Italian, they're actually very similar in many ways in terms of the nib. I think the nib is a tiny bit broader on the Italians, but it still has the same kind of beautiful feedback, which I find really interesting. This is probably my most romantic pen, and I'm sure everybody has seen this a gajillion times. This is the Sailor Pro Gear Hachimonjiya collab. It's called Kubozakura. Hachimonjiya is a beautiful stationery shop in Japan. They make a lot of beautiful exclusives, and this is in a fine nib. I bought this from a reseller. I did not realize that these are occasionally restocked by Hachimonjiya, and in fact they were restocked just the other day. So this is a Sailor Hachimonjiya Pro Gear. Fine. Kubozakura. Yep, so they were restocked the other day, and they were pretty easy to get. I actually ordered a medium fine because I felt like I could potentially have a larger nib on this. I do enjoy this with like Troublemaker, Bantean turquoise, and some darker colors, but with the lighter colors I feel like sometimes it gets a little bit lost. This is inked with Hachimonjiya Xmas Candy Pink. I paid the reseller, I'm embarrassed to say I paid about $5.50 for this pen. If you buy it directly from Hachimonjiya, which you need to have a Japanese address, it's $2.90, and then it's about $15 to $30 shipping over here, so much less. So yeah, I'll see if I want to sell my fine or the medium fine once I get it. It's interesting because on the Hachimonjiya website, I was kind of watching to see what would go out of stock first, and first it was the extra fine, then the medium, and as of yesterday they had medium fines, although they did note that they were getting low in stock. So either they made more of the medium fines expecting a higher demand, but it went on sale Saturday night. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days that it was in stock. All right, let's check out the rest of the sailors. Next up, this is actually a pen that I got from Endless Pens. This is a 2024 Smoothie collection in the Wild Berry color, and this is a medium fine, and I got this for a great price from Endless Pens, something like $2.15, and this is what made me fall in love with sailors. The nib is so amazing, the feedback, the flow, everything. So let's take a look here. At the time, I was thinking, wow, this is a lot to pay for a pen. But so this is a Sailor (2024) Smoothie Wild Berry. And just listen to this feedback. I know some people don't like it. I love it. And this is inked with Kobe Strawberry Chocolate. So gorgeous. good match actually with the ink. So this has silver hardware as opposed to the Kubozakura that has rose gold. And then the next one has gold hardware. The final Staler Pro Gear on my list is this one. This is Spring Sky from the Pillow Book, the Pillow Book collection. And I got a crazy deal on this one too. It previously had a music nib on it, but it would not write unless you were literally 90 degrees to the paper. So I had Kirk Speer regrind this to a cursive smooth italic. And it's really interesting because it still has the Sailor feedback. I want to say, I'll put up on the screen the shop where I got this from. Usually Pro Gears are in the threes. So let's check out this cursive smooth italic. And you can hear that feedback. This is inked with an interesting one. This is Robert Oster Go-Go that I got as a sample when I purchased a pen recently. And it has a kind of like a pink undertone to it. It's really pretty. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, I thought this pen was kind of romantic and Valentine's Day-ish. My daughter thinks that this pen is ostentatious and very not pretty, but you know, we all have our preferences. I don't really use this as much as I thought I would. I don't know if I should have asked Kirk to make it a little bit of a finer nib, but maybe I just need to find the right ink for it. Moving on, we have a platinum. I purchased this platinum secondhand from the Reddit Pen Swap. I paid $2.50 for it, and it has a broad nib. This is an absolutely gorgeous pen. It's the Celluloid Cherry Blossom, and it literally sparkles when the light hits it. Let's take a look at this one. I'm new to platinums. The first platinum I got was a few weeks ago when I got the coffee jelly. But I know platinums are some people's favorites, and this does have a beautiful kind of shading to it, and the broad nib is much bouncier than the fine nib that I have on the coffee jelly. I'm pretty sure I have this inked with another Octopus Fluids, Pink Rhino. The one thing is that I've noticed that it has some kind of hard starts in the beginning, and I don't know if that's the ink. See, I just did that again, but I've got to figure that out. Maybe I just need to have it tuned. So yeah, I like it. It's very pretty, and I think these are over 400 new, so I'm glad that I got it used. The one thing is that I kind of told myself recently that I would not buy any gold nibs secondhand because I feel like maybe because they're softer, they kind of get broken in to the way a specific person writes. And so I'm waiting to see if this happens with this one to me. I've noticed that with my sailors. When I first get them, they'll write kind of, I don't know, not scratchy, but not as good as they get after about a few days of using them. So, okay, next up we have the first of my pilots. This is the Pilot Kakuno. So cute. This is Drowsy Pink. It's so dreamy. So I thought that this one should make the list. It's in a fine nib. I got this from Hachimonjiya for about $10. Has a cute little face. Unfortunately, I don't have this inked with anything cute It just has a plain black Pilot cartridge in it because I didn't have a free converter, but it just writes so beautifully. I love Pilot nibs. I was thinking recently they might be my favorite if I really think about it. Okay, next up we have another Pilot. This one is a little bit more expensive. Here we go. This is the NAGASAWA gradient. So every year NAGASAWA comes out with a gradient Decimo, and I believe this was from 2022. It came with a broad nib. I had a plain black and silver Decimo that I purchased from Amazon with an extra fine nib. So I put the extra fine in here. I love the extra fine nib. I use it for my planner. It has Platinum Shoe Karu in it, which is a pigment black. And yeah, the extra fine is actually perfection. So I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it, but it's so precise. It writes every time. I love it. I also love the fact that you can just switch out the entire nib unit for any other Decimo or vanishing point. So here is the plain black Decimo that I got from Amazon that had the amazing extra fine nib. I put a fine nib into this one, and that is because I had a fine nib from this vanishing point Raiden, which is beautiful. And then I put the broad from the NAGASAWA gradient into this one because I felt like this chunkier pen made sense with a broad nib. Also, I feel like it makes me less precious about the pens because I can just easily replace the entire nib unit if something were to say happen to it. For example, you drop it or it gets clogged or something like that. All right, we're coming into the home stretch. We have our Italian pens now. We have two Leonardos and we have an Aurora. So let's do the Leonardos first. We have a Leonardo Momento Magico and a Leonardo Momento Zero. This was a Gold Spot exclusive. This is the Bella di Notte, and this is the first pen that I purchased that had a run of limited blanks. So this one was out of 170, and I got number 60. This is in an extra fine nib. They just have a steel nib. It has rose gold hardware. And yeah, I felt like that was, I paid around 200-ish for this pen, which at the time I felt was a lot, and it is a lot for a steel nib, but the nib is so beautiful. And you can hear that feedback, probably. And I take it back. This is obviously much broader than a Japanese extra fine, but it just has a similar feel. This is inked with Kobe Myodani Cosmos. I like the Magico. It's a piston filler. It has an ink window. It's a really nice size. And the one thing is that I was kind of disappointed because this pen did not look like the promo photos. It was supposed to have some kind of green and pink and some other colors. Mine is mostly purple, but the saving grace is it has this beautiful magenta reflex running through it. You can see kind of some blue there. I think maybe there's some green on the cap somewhere. Anyway, it was not enough for me to return it. Then this is the Leonardo Momento Zero. This is the Kintsugi model, which is the Japanese tradition of mending broken things with gold. This is a Stillo&Stile limited edition, which I think is an Italian stationery shop. I bought this secondhand from the Reddit Pen Swap. This has a broad nib. It's a cartridge converter. It posts like the Magico, and it's very similar in size to the Magico as well. I think this is a little bit of a thicker grip section. So let's check out this broad. This is inked with Kobe milk chocolate. Beautiful. I guess just really quickly, let's just do a little comparison here. Here is the Zero, here's the Magico. They look to be very similar. Magico is a little bit longer. And then posted, they look to be similar, but the Magico is a little bit longer. And then grip section wise, Magico is longer. And yeah, I think the Magico is just a little bit straighter. This is a little bit more curved. And the body of this one is a little bit larger, but very similar. So I'm not sure why so much hate for the Magico. I feel like I see it a lot. Okay, then last, one of my most expensive pens. This is the Aurora Burano 888. I got this from the Atlas EXP sale, and I'm so happy I did because it usually runs around $700 or $800. This is a broad 18K nib. It posts, it's a piston fill, it has an ink window, and it has the beautiful feedback that I noted on the Sailors and on the other Leonardos. So 15. So beautiful. This is inked with Pilot Kakuno Kintsugi. And I want to say I paid around $330-ish for this. So about half price. Atlas has some amazing deals in their EXP sales. Basically, when they receive a returned pen, even if there's nothing wrong with it, they don't want to just put it back on the floor and sell it as new, which I think is amazing. So they sell it at a discount to members that follow them in their Discord channel. And it gives us a chance to get these amazing pens at amazing prices. All right, so those are my romantic fountain pens. I could have included so many more because I think all of my fountain pens are romantic in one way or another, but I thought these all fit the bill specifically well. So let me know if you have any questions or if I missed anything about the pens or the inks, and let me know what your most romantic pen is. And I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you later. Bye.